Hello, a very good evening ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all back to my channel Tia Dental DK. So in this video, it is actually a continuation of the previous video where I'm answering some of the very important questions that were sent to me on Instagram. So without much further ado, this is the part 2 and let's start with the questions. Now, question number 1. Do we get a 5-year authorization visa in total as a dentist? Now, this question I get asked a lot, that what is the duration of the visa? And I'm going to explain to you. Now, basically, whenever a dentist or a doctor gets the authorization visa is basically 5 years, yes, but that is the total duration. In general, in my time, what they did with me as well was that they gave me a 3-year visa. Now, the 3-year visa, you can always get an extension of 2 years more. But what happens is that when you come to Denmark, your main aim is to learn the Danish language. And after 3 years, when you apply for an extension of 2 years more, the criteria of that extension is that you need to have completed PT3 exam with the score of 7/7/10. That is the criteria. And your extension of an extra 2 years is based on that criteria. So when you come to Denmark, you work hard with the language and you complete the PT3 within the 3-year span. And in that span of 3 years, if you have completed the PT3 and you have a score of 7/7/10, only then you can get a 2-year extension, which is a total of 5 years then. So that is how it usually works. Now, moving on to question number 2, what happens if we are not able to complete the Danish language criteria? Now, this is a very good question and a very important question, and I don't want to sound harsh, but the fact is you're going to be in big trouble if you do not complete the Danish language criteria, because this is a very strict and a very important criteria, especially for all the doctors, dentists, and the nurses out there. So what happens is that if you have 3 years, you've done 3 years, and you need to apply for an extension and you do not have the language criteria, this is going to be a huge problem for you, because your extension depends upon only this criteria. So if you do not have this, what can happen is that they can give you a little grace time of 3 to 6 months more, that you can submit your Danish language certificate if you haven't done the language up till now, or if your, for example, exam is within 3 months and your expiry is, you need an extension, for example, 3 months before. So 3 to 6 months maximum, they can give you that grace period. But if you still do not complete it, then you will not get an extension. Unfortunately, you would have to leave Denmark. So this is why I say it is extremely, extremely important to get done with the language exam. And within the first 3 years, you need to work really hard and get done with the Danish language exam with not just any, the PT3, and with a 7/7/10. PT2 is not going to work, so it's only PT3. One important thing to add here is that the 7/7/10 score that I said is usually for doctors and dentists. For the nurses, the criteria is different. So every medical professional, it depends upon the criteria that they ask for. For some, they ask a 10/10/10. For some, they ask a 7/7/10. So depending upon what your profession is, please follow that criteria. Question number 3. What kind of jobs are the medical professionals allowed to do once they come to Denmark? I get this question asked a lot as well, and the answer is you can do any sort of job that you have been offered. It can be an odd job, it can be a blue-collar job, etc. Whatever job you are offered, you're allowed to do it according to your work permit. So that's not a problem. And with the authorization visa now, like I said before, you kind of get a work permit with that. So you are allowed to work. So that's not a problem anymore. Now, when it comes to the jobs, I do realize that it's difficult to get the jobs, due to which I've actually made a video as well. The link is in the bio, in the description. You can see the link, and from there you can actually navigate what jobs are easier to get and what jobs are better for you. So I hope that video helps you as well. But in general, you can do any of the jobs that have been offered to you, and I'd recommend that as soon as possible you come to Denmark, please find a job, even if it is an odd job, because Denmark is generally, it's expensive. And if you're in the Copenhagen area, it's even more expensive. So it's better if you get a job so that you can have financial stability. And once you have the financial stability, then it's easier to focus on the Danish language and other things. Question number 4. What is the best way to get a job? Are there any agencies to help? Alright, so firstly, I have already made a video, like I said before, it is in the description, that would give you an idea of the jobs that are easily available and the best way to get them. Firstly. Secondly, as far as the agencies are concerned, yes, there are some agencies that help, but they don't help like giving you a permanent job or a long-term job. They help you as a vikar. Now, what is a vikar? A vikar is basically a Danish word, which in general means a temporary employer. So maybe sometimes in clinics or somewhere they need someone for like 2 days a week because their employer is sick or something like that, or that person is on vacation, so then they're going to call you. That is a vicar, like temporary positions. But most of the time, those temporary positions, if you work very well, they can also offer you permanent position. So and in general, in vicar jobs, they pay you a little more than usual per hour, so that is an advantage. So there are some agencies, you can get registered with them, and temporarily they might call you. Of course, it's not very stable, but still something's better than nothing. So, and it can also give you the opportunity to get full-time work somewhere. So that is what agencies usually do. And if you need any help with these agencies, kindly message me on my Instagram, TRDK, and I will help you out with what the agencies are, where are these agencies, and any advice that you need or guidance you need about these agencies, I would help you there. So do message me on my Instagram if you need any help with the agencies. Question number 5. Can my spouse work? The answer to that is yes, your spouses can work in Denmark. In fact, this is a huge benefit that for all the doctors, dentists and nurses, your spouse is allowed to work in Denmark, and they can work full-time as well. Now, the benefit here is that in majority of the cases I've seen that due to the Danish language courses, the doctors and dentists, the nurses, medical professionals, etc., they're very busy. So they cannot do full-time work and focus on the Danish language at the same time. Because of course, you need to focus on the language. You get homework, you get assignments, so you don't get time to work that much. So if the spouse is working full-time, in many cases I've seen this, that the spouses work full-time and the medical professional focuses on the Danish language. So it is a win-win situation, because on one side, the medical professional focuses on the language, and on the other side, the spouse brings financial stability to the house by working full-time. So this is great teamwork, and it really works in the long run. So yes, your spouses can work, and they actually should work and support and help their medical professional spouse. Question number 6. Can we convert our visa? The answer to that is yes, you can convert your visa, and some of the options are, for example, converting into a student visa or converting it into a work visa. But now there is a problem with this. It's not that easy. Especially with the work visa, if you need to get that converted, you need an employer that gives you a certain amount of salary, which is pretty high, and usually it's very unlikely to get that kind of a higher salary. So work visa gets very hard. When it comes to the student visa, yes, that is also possible, but most of the most of the courses here are in Danish language. So for both of these visas, and especially for the student visa, the one thing that they would see is the Danish language as well. So Danish language criteria, no matter how you slice it, you need to complete the Danish language first. And after that, if you need to get your visa converted, you can, but the Danish language is very important. So the first thing you need to do is at least complete the Danish language, because that is a criteria that can open, other doors for you. But if you've not done the Danish language, you're here for 3 years and you want to convert your visa because your authorization visa is expiring, then it's highly unlikely that you can get your visa converted. So with the Danish language, it would open more opportunities. So then again, Danish language is a priority, and please get done with the Danish language. Your goal should be within 1.5 years, you need to complete the Danish language. So once you did that, there is hope. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that would be all for this video. I hope this video helped, especially the medical professionals out there. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to contact me on my Instagram, TRDK. And I wish you all a good day. Thank you.